All right, guys, college basketball season has officially come to a close, so it's time to dive back into college football and talk about our early look-aheads to next season for various college football teams. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Clemson Tigers. Clemson last year, 9-4. All right, we know they don't really dive too much into the transfer portal. We'll get a little more into their transfer portal and their recruiting in a little bit, but lost a few key pieces, but they also bring back a few key pieces. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Clemson, like I said, 9-4 last year. Right now, though, going into next year, my way too early top 25, I have them at number 17 at the moment. Dabo's kind of earned the benefit of the doubt, going ahead. I know, like I say, he doesn't really dive into the transfer portal, but he still wins a lot of ball games. Like last year was a down year for Clemson. They went 9-4. I mean, that's not bad at all. All right, so let's look at their transfer portal here. All right, like I said, they do not dive into the transfer portal at all. And when I say that, I mean that. All right, 0 incoming transfers. But they do have some important outgoing transfers in particular. All right, I've got a couple 4-stars here. All right, Mukuba, safety, transferred to Texas. Cornerback, Pride Jr., transferred to Missouri. Both played significant minutes for Clemson last year. All right, and then looking at their recruiting rankings, a lot better here. All right, 15th ranked recruiting class at the moment. 5-star coming in, TJ Moore, receiver. I got some other weapons, receiver, tight end, 4 stars. Got some linemen, offensive and defensively here that are also 4 stars, and then a 4-star safety as well. All right, and they also have some guys that have signed their letters of intent, but are not yet on campus. So 5-star linebacker, another safety, another corner, another safety. So really loading up there on the defensive end and with weapons. All right, so with that being said, though, Clemson doesn't have the easiest schedule next year. All right, I think they'll be okay in conference play, but out of conference, they've got some issues here. Now, they do still have Cade Klubnik, the quarterback. All right, he's kind of been hit and miss since he's became the starting quarterback. Like this year, like I said, this past year, they went 9-4. Not great by any means, but also not bad. But what's your reward starting the season with number 1 Georgia? So that's probably going to be a loss for Clemson. All right, that's going to put them at 0-1 starting with Georgia. That's not really an easy start to the season, but it really doesn't get any easier. All right, Appalachian State, I know they're not going to be near Georgia level, but Appalachian State, if Clemson takes them lightly, can definitely beat Clemson. Appalachian State is a legitimate team right now, but I think Clemson gets the win there. I think they're too much talented. They have too much talent, compared to Appalachian State. They're also just too much speed, too much size all across the front. All right, so that puts you at 1-1. You get a bye week heading into NC State. All right, NC State at the moment is who I have representing the ACC in the college football playoff, but I think Clemson beats them here, though. Clemson gets NC State, at home. I can't talk today. They get NC State at home, so that's really beneficial to Clemson. That's going to help you out as far as instead of playing away. NC State is really talented this year, though. If you don't know, they got the new quarterback in, Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina. You may remember him back from like 2020 during COVID when Coastal Carolina had that really good run. He was the quarterback during that time. He's still there, but he's going to NC State now. So NC State's loaded. They've loaded up in the transfer portal class. But I think Clemson gets the win there, puts them at 2-1. Next, you get Stanford. Stanford, pretty easy win right there. That's an easy ACC opponent for now, so that puts you at 3-1. You get a tough matchup here at Florida State. Florida State's not going to be a pushover. That's going to be difficult. I think Florida State is going to be down a little bit compared to last year, but they do have the potential to make a college football playoff run. Well, I say again, a college football playoff caliber run again for Florida State, but I think Clemson gets the win here. Despite it being away, I think Clemson ultimately is too much for Florida State, so that's going to put you at 4-1. At Wake Forest, that should be an automatic win, most likely 5-1. Virginia, that should be a win as well, putting you at 6-1. Luckily for you, you get a bye before going into against Louisville, so that should bring you to, what are we at, 7-1 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so 7-1 with a win over Clemson. Now, this one right here is going to be tricky at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's going to be talented this year. They are a top 25 caliber team this year. Have a lot of guys coming back from this past season, and they were even pretty impressive last year. But I still think Clemson, too good, and is going to beat Virginia Tech, which will put them at 8-1. All right, at Pitt, that should be a win as well, 9-1. The Citadel put you at 10-1, and then South Carolina, they don't have Spencer Rattler anymore, so that puts you at 11-1 most likely. for Clemson. And at worst here, you're probably looking at 2 or 3 losses on a down year, I would say. Maybe 4, but most likely not happen. I've got them at 11-1, which will put them in the ACC championship against NC State is my prediction. Although I think they're going to lose to NC State in the ACC championship, which will put them at 2 losses. And depending on what goes down, we've got the expanded playoff now. That could sneak you into the playoff. It's probably going to depend on how you perform in that first matchup against Georgia. If you get kind of boat race there, if you get ran off the field, that's probably not going to help your chances. But if you can keep it close with Georgia, I'd say under 21, I think you're probably in good shape as far as sneaking into that back end of the college football playoff. But the way it's going to go down as far as looking at the rest of the teams, I think Clemson probably misses the college football playoff, but they're definitely in contention for the playoff though. But what do you think of Clemson next year? What do you think their record will be? Can they make the college football playoff? Let me know. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video, and most importantly, subscribe.